Hey everybody, Mike Linville here from Black Dog Education with another installment of Office Hours. Now, today's question came in from a visitor via email, and the question really had to do with the WordPress Media Manager. And you know, it's funny because this is a question that we get all the time. You know, as custom developers, you know, we used to struggle with building, you know, graphical interfaces where you could load up images and crop and do all this other stuff. So, you know, realistically, the media manager that's available in WordPress is actually pretty powerful. The problem that we have is it's not necessarily as intuitive as maybe we would like. So one of the things that we're going to do in an upcoming version of this is we're actually going to go through and maybe run down like the top 5 things that people would like to do within a media manager in terms of loading up images, cropping, resizing, things of that nature. But you know, for the time being, what I wanted to do was I did want to make sure that we answered the question, because even if the images aren't exactly the way that you want them to look, search engine optimization and work for the search engines is definitely going to be important. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that we had that piece handled. So anytime you're using the media manager or anytime you're adding any kind of an image, you know, whatsoever to WordPress site or to anything else like that, there's 4 pieces of information that you want to make sure that you've got covered. Now the first thing is going to be you want to make sure that you give your graphics a meaningful file name. You know, with things like Google Images and other kind of search tools that are out there, you know, your images that are on your website can now come up in a search. But if your image is named like image 337.jpg or something like that, that's meaningless. So instead of saying image 337, give it a meaningful name. Call it birthday party or email icon or whatever the case is, but give it something that's meaningful. You know, use either hyphens or underscore characters to kind of separate the words and make it a meaningful image. The second thing that we're going to want to do is going to want to make sure that you give it a meaningful title. Now, when you're adding images to WordPress, it actually asks you for the title. If you're doing it outside of WordPress, you can just use the title tag to make sure that you give your image a title. This again is something that the search engines are going to take a look at, and it's going to help them, you know, kind of understand what the information is about on your page, because obviously they don't know what the image is about. We can use alt tags and title tags to describe that to the browsers. The third thing, like we just had mentioned, was an alt tag. So you want to make sure that you put alt tags on every single one of your images. And basically what an alt tag is that's the text description of the image that shows up if for some reason your web browser has a problem loading up that graphic. You know, you probably notice it, like if you move your cursor over an image, there's like a little box that pops up and it has some words on it. That's your image's alt tag, or if you're in Firefox, that's the title tag. So you want to make sure that you've got both. And then the last thing that we want to talk about is making sure that you have your images scaled properly. Now, using height and width tags within an image tag is not the right way to scale an image. So for example, if you have an image that's 10 inches by 10 inches square, but you only want it to take up a small portion on your website, you're not going to want to upload that entire graphic and then crush it down with height and width tags, because what's going to happen is your web browser needs to actually download that full-size 10 by 10 image, and then it's going to use the height and the width tags that are on that to crunch it down and make it fit. The better solution is going to be to actually resize that image either in the WordPress Media Manager, which we'll show you at a later time, or you know, in Photoshop or GIMP or some other sort of photo manipulation tool before you load it up. That's going to make sure that your page load times are much faster, and you know, for the search engine optimization, that's going to be really beneficial. So again, the 4 things that we talked about, you know, helping out your search engine optimization: make sure that you give your image files a meaningful name, make sure that you use alt tags, make sure that you use title tags, and make sure that you scale the image properly. You know, don't try to put a 15-foot wide image onto a web page. Scale it. It's going to make your pages load faster, and it's going to look a lot better. So if you have additional questions, please make sure that you send them over to us. It's office hours at blackdogeducation.com. My name is Mike Linville, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.